About a month ago, I made this small desk robot called Pixel. But Pixel has one big problem. He can't move. And don't get me wrong at all, Pixel could do a lot of cool things, but what's the point if he's just stuck in one spot? But today, that changes, because today is the day Pixel finally roams free. So in order for there truly not to be any more strings on Pixel, we do have a couple of requirements. First, of course, he needs to be able to walk and move around. Second, he needs to be able to accept voice commands. And third, he needs to run completely locally. And no, I'm not saying we're gonna run it locally on our computer and then have the AI respond to our robot. I'm saying the robot's gonna run completely on this ESP32 microcontroller. Now I know what you're thinking. Nas, how are you gonna have an AI run completely on this tiny microcontroller? And I get that you're doubting me. I'm not offended at all. But I was offended was when I wrote this in my Discord and my own mod had no faith in me. So Zydro, this one is for you. So the main issue really is when people think about AI, they automatically go to large language models. But AI has been around for years, and large language models are just a type of AI. The definition of AI is just computers simulating things that humans do. NPC in your favorite video game? AI. When you get an email and it automatically goes to spam? AI. Autocorrect? Hello, AI. But the type of AI that's gonna control Pixel is called multinet. And what multinet does is directly match your voice to actions. And it does that with an architecture called, hold on, this is a mouthful, hybrid RNNTCTC. And I would be lying if I said I knew what that stands for, but all that means is that it converts your audio waveforms to text and basically maps that text to some pre-submitted commands that you put in. And that's the big caveat of multinet. LLMs, you can ask it anything and it's gonna give you some type of answer. Multinet, on the other hand, you have a maximum of 200 different prompts that it can map your voice to, which in my opinion is way more than enough. We all ask ChatGPT the same 5 things anyway. So if we plug in our ESP32 to our display board and flash with our AI model, we should be able to test multinet. All right, so I'm running it on the ESP32. I went ahead and added a wake word already because it uses the same infrastructure as multinet. So I should say the wake word and I should say command, and the command that I called should come up on the screen. Jarvis, turn on the light. Nice. Jarvis, what is the weather? Let's go. So you probably noticed that the wake word that I'm using is Jarvis and not Pixel. And that's because we have a problem. So WakeNet is not an open source, open weight model, which means I can't train it myself and I need to use one of the wake words that come out of the box. And even though they have a lot of options, the ones I was deciding between was either Jarvis or computer. But every time I make something, you guys want the wake word to be Jarvis anyway. So Pixel, I'm sorry. For this video, your name is going to be Jarvis. So now that we have our models running on an ESP32, Zydro, yes, I do want an apology. It is time to try to make this thing walk. And there's 2 main different types of walking. We have dynamic walking and static walking. Dynamic walking means the robot is constantly self-balancing and self-correcting itself. This is very useful when trying to walk on uneven ground, or if somebody tries to push the robot over, it's gonna be able to get its balance back. But as cool as dynamic walking is, there's a lot of processing power and a lot of sensors needed to make it work. And that now takes us to static walking. In static walking, every single part of a walking gait needs to be perfectly balanced, because if not, the robot's gonna fall over. And this is honestly very easy to do with robots like hexapods. You can use 3 legs to keep the robot balanced as the other 3 legs are taking a step. But when it comes down to 2 legs, things get a little bit tougher, so we need to cheat a little bit. So instead of just doing a regular walk, we're gonna do something that's more like a waddle. So here's what I'm thinking. We could design Pixel so that he could shift his weight over to 1 leg. And as his center of mass is directly over that leg, he could rotate his hips to take a step forward and then shift his weight to the next leg. And he will continually do this in order to get that waddle walking motion. And to make this new version of Pixel, I did have to upsize him a decent amount because they're jamming a whole bunch of electronics in there. So he did gain a little bit of weight, but he should be fine. And as for the electronics, we're using a total of 4 servo motors, 2 in the feet to shift the weight and 2 in the hips to rotate his body forward. We're also using a servo controller to offload some of the processing power, so our ESP32 is not doing everything. And everything will be powered by a 3.7 volt, 3000 milliamp battery, so we should have a decent bit of battery life. And now it's time to make a walking robot. Okay. Oh, all right. Here are the final touches. Walk forward. Okay, he's moving. Is he sliding? No, he's sliding. And he's slipping. And that's just because PLA on wood, there's literally no friction at all. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put some TPU, use that as shoes, attach to the bottom end, and we're gonna try again and hopefully that completely stops the slipping. Okay, take 2. Okay. Bro, what? What is happening? Oh, brother. And he didn't walk again. Forward. And this is where the issues kind of started to pile up. So first the servos kind of started acting weird and jittering and doing not what it's programmed to do. And that was because there was some type of interference happening with the board. So I went in and fixed that. Now that the servos are acting the way they're supposed to, I noticed that his shoes are too big. Yes! Wait, he's doing it! Oh my gosh! Almost! He took off his shoe! Oh! So he's basically like crisscrossing applesauce in his feet, so he just falls over after trying a couple of times. But with enough trial and error, Pixel finally takes his first steps. Yes! Yes!
It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
And I wasn't 100% satisfied with the speed and smoothness, so I kept on tuning it. Sometimes I tuned a little bit too fast, other times too slow, but now I think I have the perfect walking motion. But right now, Pixel still has 2 big problems. And the first is how he looks. The blue filament is fine, but I think a metallic silver color will be better. I also want to give him props to wear, and that's where the sponsor of today's video comes in, Meshy AI. So even though I'm pretty good with CAD, when it comes to design things in Blender, honestly, I kind of suck. And with Meshy AI, you can literally just write in a prompt, give it a couple of minutes, and you'll have an STL file completely generated. And this saves me the dozens of hours it would have took to make this myself or even to learn Blender to begin with. And even if you look at the quality this is being generated with, like even down to the stitching is absolutely crazy. And I honestly started getting a little bit carried away with all the things I could generate. And also, if you're not really sure how to prompt it, all you have to do is ask the AI to help you change your prompt, and it makes your prompt a little bit better to get your generations even more accurate to what you really want. And all you have to do is download the file as STL, resize it just to make sure it can fit pixel heads, upload the STL file to our CAD software, and make this one small change that's gonna make it a little bit easier for Pixel to wear his props. And now Pixel's he's looking good. He was looking good before, but now he's looking very good. And Meshy could even create STL files from your drawings. Like I had this idea of making a Roman helmet for Pixel. I just drew up a sketch, put it in Meshy, and it completely generated better than I could even imagine. So if you want to give Meshy a try, check out my affiliate link in the description. And again, Meshy, thank you for sponsoring this video. And for the second big problem Pixel has, wait, he actually might have, he might have 4 big problems. Okay, for the second big problem that he has is that he can only walk forward, which is boring and useless. Multi-net says we can have up to 200 commands, so let's use them. Of course, we have walk forward, but why not add walk backward? Okay, maybe you're walking a little too far back. And then turn right. And of course, turn left. But how about something fun like do a dance? So I went ahead, I added a whole bunch of commands, more than what I just said, that I'll show up at the end of the video. And even with all of that, something still feels missing. And it's the fact that Pixel does not have a voice. So one of the biggest requests that I got from you guys was that Pixel should have a speaker. And with my original setup using the Zhao ESP32S3, it used a cam which took up 14 pins, which made it almost impossible to use a speaker. This time, I'm using a Waveshare ESP32, which comes with a speaker built in. Has a speaker, screen has a better display, even has a built-in IMU, has everything that we need. So let's actually put this hardware to use. So my first thought was we could use a text-to-speech model, but as you can imagine, we are insanely low on resources. And if I had anything more to this application, the ESP32 is gonna crash. So I thought of a better way. Why not add some beat bops to it? Think of R2-D2. And the way that we implemented Pixel's voice was a whole bunch of different tones that kind of represent different emotions: happy, sad, confused, dizzy. And depending on the action, that emotion tone will play when Pixel does things. Also, if you guys been liking this video, make sure to give this video a like. If you want to see more of my content, make sure you subscribe to the channel. And that's 3 things down, and now we have 1 more problem. And the thing is, Pixel's a desk robot. I don't want him to be just a toy. So I had to add some utility to him. And I can show you better than I can tell you. So here is the full Pixel demo. Jarvis, what time is it? All right, looks like I still got a couple more minutes left. Start a timer. Stop timer. Okay, Pixel, I'm about to leave. I need you to watch over the desk while I'm going. I know a lot of you guys like to build what I build. So as always, the project code and the STL files are completely open source for free. If you go to the link in my Patreon, I have it posted there. But also if you want a step-by-step guide on how to build Pixel yourself, all of my Patreon pseudo users, you get that for free. But if subscriptions are not your thing, you can just buy the tutorial outright on my Patreon page or my YouTube store. And if by any chance you want to see the first version of Pixel and how I made them, click here.